Good evening, Stafford High School families. This is Mr. Hicks, your principal. I am very excited to celebrate Women's History Month this evening. We're going to have a panel of some very important community members. We've been celebrating this month throughout the month of March, and we always talk with our students about the importance of community, building relationships, making connections. So I'm very excited to have these important people with us here tonight. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our assistant principals, and they will introduce themselves, and then our panel will go around, introduce themselves, just say a little bit about what they do and some interesting things about themselves, and I'll start off with the questions. So we'll start with our assistant principal, Mr. Diggs.
Good evening. I'm so excited to be here and part of this presentation. I'm Mr. Diggs, one of the assistant principals here at Stafford High School for students D through N.
Good evening, Stafford High School community. My name is Miss Elliott, and I supervise last names A through F.
Good evening, everyone in the community of Stafford. This is Chris Quinn, and I get to supervise and work with the wonderful students O through Z. So glad to be with you tonight.
All right, and we're going to introduce our panel now. Ms. Harris, would you like to start?
Sure. Hello, Stafford community. My name is Terra Harris. I am the proud principal of an Achievable Dream Academy that is located in Newport News.
And I am Kelly Cardona. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak with you all. I am currently a reading specialist and an instructional coach here in Stafford County.
Good evening. I'm Rebecca Raines. I am currently a health and medical science teacher, EMT coordinator for Stafford High School.
All right, so welcome. I'll start off with the questions this evening. The first question is, tell me, you already talked about your name and your title. Talk a little bit about the role that you serve in your community.
I will begin. I, again, am a principal in Newport News Public Schools. It is a K-5 school. We have a partner school, which is 6th through 12th. One of my major roles are to assist our scholars as well as our teachers about a love of learning and being leaders and being impactful on our community. I have been involved in a lot of community activities in our area. Just a little background, we are in a population that is underserved. So my leadership is very important. I consider everyone a leader, including our teachers down to our custodial staff. And so we do whatever it takes to make sure that our students and our staff are well taken care of.
And like Ms. Harris, I'm also an educator and involved in the lives of our students. And really, like she said it so perfectly, really wanting to make sure all of our learners are leaders of their lives and love learning. As an instructional coach and a reading specialist, my job is really to work with teachers, to work with building administrators, building leaders, as well as with our students, and really make sure that they get the best possible education that they can. So I work here in Stafford, but I also grew up and worked in New York City, and I believe, just like Ms. Harris does, it's really important that all of our students just really are leaders of their own lives, and we want to foster a love of learning for them.
I guess I have two hats here. I'm an educator. My passion is educating students in EMS so that they can go out and help our community. And that's my other passion. I've been involved in community service my entire life. I've been involved with the rescue squad. I've been a county paramedic, involved in doing things to help other people. And that's just me, the way I grew up. But right now, for the last 20 years, I guess, I have been really involved in educating students in emergency services and health and medical science. And seeing the students grow and become healthcare providers is such a blessing.
Thank you, and welcome. And again, thank you for coming on tonight for us. Dr. Quinn has the next question.
Yes. Hello, ladies. I do have a question about who influenced you. You know, during Women's History Month, I learned about Rosalind Franklin, who did a lot of work with DNA, working with Doctors Crick and Watson, and they seemed to always get the headlines, but she really did most of the pioneering work. And in her story, she was influenced by her family and significant people as she was growing up. So this question really relates to that. When you were a child, and just kind of look at it through a child's lenses, who was your role model? Who really affected you? Who really spoke into your life and to help you be a successful woman leader like you are? We'll start with Ms. Harris, please.
So I think mine is twofold and very much personal. I would say as a student, I looked up to my third grade teacher, Miss Landis. I just watched her develop these meaningful relationships, and not with just one student, a couple of students, it was with all of us. And no matter how challenging they may have been, she persevered. It was ensured to make sure she connected with students. The encouragement I was in awe of it, even as a young child, definitely in awe of it. She was a nurturer, a listener, and ensuring that we were well cared for in her presence, throughout the school day. And I always have appreciated those endearing acts of love and kindness that she gave. I would say from even a more personal lens, as far as maybe a role model, it would unequivocally be my mother. At age 46 years old, she is still encouraging me. She still cheers me on. My mother was a homemaker, is a homemaker, and then my father was in the military. So naturally, when my mom was there, when we got up to see us off to school, and then when we came home, she was there, and just engaging us and celebrating us and having conversations about what happened today in school. How did you do? And, if we felt down about something, she was always there to make sure that we were uplifted and empowered. And again, at 46 years old, I strive to be the mother that I am to my daughters as she was to my sister and I.
Ms. Cardona?
I thought about this question, and I also think it's really personal for me. When I think about the women in my life who influenced me, the first person that I was thinking of was my mother, but also my grandmother. My grandmother moved to New York from Puerto Rico when she was 16 years old and learned English, and she worked in a factory. And even at that age and working, learning the language, she taught herself how to read and how to write, and she began her time working with others and influencing others and would help and would translate for others. So I feel like in my life, I've always had these women who played this role where it wasn't just about them, but it was about helping others in their community. So I also think about my own mom, and my aunts. I always had women in my life that worked and strived to better themselves, get an education. And my mother always worked my whole life. So I watched her work hard, and then I also watched her try to build that family life for us so that when we came home from school, we had a meal to eat, and we had family time, and I see that paving the way for me as a working mom, being able to do the same thing. So I think it's the real people in our lives, in our families, in our communities that really become those role models and those people that we look up to, those people that we want to be like. And I see that in my own life.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cardona. Next, we have Ms. Raines, who inspires me so much as she trains students to get certified in EMT and dispatching skills, and she leaves here and works with fire and rescue. She saved a lot of lives. So, Ms. Raines, who were the role models in your life as you were growing up?
My first role model, I think, for what I have followed in my life is my father. My father was a career firefighter, and when he was a career firefighter, it was a male-dominated area. No, females were unheard of at that time, and I was interested, and he encouraged me. And I actually did try firefighting a little bit, but I'm a little claustrophobic, so the mask didn't work too well. But he encouraged me to keep going. And as I decided to come into EMS, my mother came in with a role, and she went to school with me. She actually became an instructor before I did. And as I helped her, I felt that this is something I really like doing. I like teaching people. It's not only just the aspect of being on the ambulance, it's helping people in every day, your home emergencies. And that was one of the reasons we got into it, was back to help my grandmother. My grandmother was a stroke patient, and we thought this was just some way that we could help her. So it's been back and forth in my family. And now I'm married to a firefighter. My son's a firefighter, so it's kind of a family tradition that we have been involved with helping our community. But Stafford High School is near and dear to me because that's where I graduated from. And when I had my choice of schools to teach with, I chose to stay at Stafford. And there's a lot of influence there. There's some teachers there now that were there when I was a student, and they see me and they greet me and they still call me the little one and things. And so I can see the whole community really influenced what I've done. To get me into teaching had to be my teachers, Mr. Andrews, Miss Sigmund, that are still there. I can remember my first grade teacher was Mrs. Biggs, and I was so overwhelmed that I had a teacher named Mrs. Biggs because I thought that meant she was big, and she wasn't. But that helped me get into education, was following my teachers. So I really think the whole Stafford community and my family has played a major part in my life decisions.
Thank you so much. Those are great. It's kind of a chuckle because I know like some of our teachers have been there for 40, 45, 50 years. And many of our current teachers, you know, they had teachers that were there. So we do have a really solid history at Stafford High School. Mr. Diggs, Miss Elliott, you're next.
Thank you. So my question is, in your opinion, what can the Stafford community do to celebrate accomplishments of women and use these accomplishments to guide our youth?
When I think of action steps, I'm immediately drawn to the thought of celebrations for and of the women of Stafford County. All wins, all breakthroughs and successes, no matter how great or small, should be shared and celebrated. It's important that we use our platforms and that we allow others to see how the community holds women and their history in high regard. That's extremely important. I think this in turn then helps young girls to develop a voice and encourages them to never underestimate their importance that they have in this world. Allow it to be contagious and spread like wildfire. I think the school community can create focus groups centered around young women and the light and the value that they absolutely add. One of the things that we have had some discussions around before is to bring in female speakers. I think a lot of times when we get speakers and things of that nature, it's usually a male sometimes. And so making sure we bring in female speakers and that representation matters and create mentorship. So I feel like those are some action steps definitely that the Stafford community can rally behind.
Thank you. Mrs. Cardona?
Yeah, I think just to add on to what Ms. Harris is saying, I think that voice piece is really powerful, and celebrating the everyday accomplishments. But just to add on, I think the notion of representation is huge. I think it's really important for our youth to see women that reflect who they are in these positions and speaking out and having a voice. I think that's so important to have that diversity. Older women, younger women, women of color, women who were born in the United States, women who were not born in the United States. I think as much as we can have students see themselves in the women that are being celebrated, the more students can begin to see themselves as reaching their fullest potential.
Thank you. Mrs. Raines?
I agree with everything that's been said. I think we need to show women that they can do things. And just as I said before, I've seen that because I was in a male-dominated field and grew up in it. And now we're probably about 50-50, I guess, with females. Females are seeing that they can do it. But the mentorships in our field is great. Our students need to see that they can do it and that women are there in the leadership roles.
Thank you so much. Again, it's just great to hear your perspective on things. And as we at Stafford High School, one thing we talk about is trying to make connections with kids so that they can see themselves in a leadership role. They can see themselves being active in the community. Mr. Diggs.
Good evening. The honor of asking the next question. Ms. Harris will go first, and then Ms. Cardona, and then Ms. Raines. With that, my question is, what do you suggest to our students about getting involved in community movements that make a positive impact, specifically for women and others?
So I am kind of drawn to, and what resonates with me is something that Ruby Bridges has said before. She says, don't follow the path. Go where there is no path and begin the trail. And that says, be a trailblazer, do something different. Read about prominent women in history. Social media can be a blessing and a curse, but there are so many opportunities for our young students to kind of immerse themselves in the community. I suggest reaching out to your elected officials to express interest, and that could be through an email, through regular mail. As women, I think we carry a great responsibility to continue to move forward and to set example for other young females, young ladies, that women are leaders. We are here. We are innovative, we're courageous, and we can empower so many by setting an example.
Women are leaders. And one of the things that strikes me when I think about women, when you look at literacy rates and you look at other countries, when we empower women, it has a multiplicable effect, meaning that you help the girls, you help the women, but you help their children who help their children, and it gets passed down through generations. And I see this in my own life. And what I would say in terms of what are some things that you can do to kind of grow that leadership is to be involved, to get involved, find a passion, something that you are passionate about, and then go for it. It could be volunteering in an organization. Find an organization that matches with your passion and do something that will help others. And I think the more as women we take those leadership roles, but the more we give back to others, the more we grow and the more we grow our leadership.
Involvement and passion, I think, are the major roles there. Find out how you can be involved. Don't get involved into something for the wrong reason. Do your homework. Find out what it's all about, what community event or activity you want to be involved in. I encourage my students to volunteer in the community all the time. We have different activities, not just the EMT students with EMS, but we have different activities trying to show how we can enrich someone else's life with just reading to someone or tutoring someone during this virtual time, just lending a helping hand to a neighbor. Just get involved and show people your passion and what you would like to see our community as. I think I've been involved in a lot of different aspects with a lot of different organizations, and I keep coming back to it. I want to be involved and help my community, but I want to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons and doing it the right way. But women are strong. Women have that passion. So for all of you future leaders out there, get involved, and schools where you can start, get involved in your clubs and learn those activities and what the meanings are, because there are a lot of other community activities behind our clubs.
Thank you so much. And I hear the words passion, strength, being resilient, and that's one thing I think we all that are leaders tell ourselves every day, that you're going to rise above when you make those hard decisions. It's not going to always feel comfortable or good, but that's the part that we really talk to our students about as well. So I'm going to wrap up tonight. I'm going to ask each of you, and then I'll finish up. In 30 seconds, is there anything else? I know we talked about a lot of important things tonight. Anything else you want to mention before we leave? Ms. Harris?
I think I just want to get the message out that you do add value to your community, to your school community, to the community at large. And it is important for you to be a leader in everything you do. I know it is so very tempting. I have a high schooler myself, and it can be tempting to go a different direction, but it is important to travel the road that's less traveled. Like, go down the road where everybody's not there, where it's not as popular. I think that's really important, and to continue to empower others in doing so.
Ms. Cardona?
I would say support one another. I think sometimes as females, we have this, stereotype that we are and we go against each other, and I have not found that to be as true as maybe society says it is. I think women naturally support one another. We're nurturing, we're caring, and I would say tap into that. Find your tribe of people that are going to support you as you grow, and you will begin to be a support and empower others. And I think that is so critical. We are not meant to walk this walk alone. We're meant to walk this with others. So I would just encourage you to be supportive and to find your support.
Ms. Raines?
I would say try new experiences. Maybe get out of your comfort zone and try something new. Support each other, like it's been said before, because that really helps us and empowers us when we know we have the support of other people. So get out there and just try something new.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much all for joining us tonight. I will say that I was very happy that these strong women could join us. I've cheated. I've worked with all of them, so I know them before you guys got to meet them tonight. So our quote we do a quote of the week in Stafford High School, and our quote this week was, "Hang out with those who level you up." And I explained it to students: hang out with those who make you better. So I that's why I've been involved with all these ladies on the meet tonight, because they make me better. I got, like I said, I got the opportunity to visit Miss Harris in her great school. I learned a lot. I like visiting other schools to see what they're doing because it makes me better. Miss Cardona worked with me at my last school I was at. We worked together as a team to really do some great things with all students, like she talked about earlier, and not only in the classroom and literacy, but also outside the classroom in the community. And then Miss Raines, I see her every day. I'll stop by and peek in her classroom and see the great things that she's doing. And also with Miss Raines, you just hear about the great things that her students are doing, not only now, but if you follow the newspaper at all, you just hear about great things that her students are doing in the community as supporting others. So again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I was very excited to have everybody. And again, thank you and have a great evening. Take care.